Okay, we're getting ready to make the first cut, and the first slot that I'm going to make is for the trash can, which is why you can only see, one thing referenced out, which I'd already mentioned that. I'm going to use my new circle cutting jig that I made last night. This is its maiden voyage. I have it outlined in another video if anybody's interested in a closer view of that. I'm going to do a centerless turn on this with no hole in the wood, so I have my plate double-sided tape down. I've got everything lined up. I'm going to make this groove 3/8 of an inch in depth. I can't show this because I've got the camera in the hand, but I'll give a shot after I'm finished. Okay, well, I finished routing the groove for the trash can, and I don't know if this picks up, but that circle jig I made worked absolutely beautifully. I got no deflection in it, no vibration in the router. I mean, it really did work like a dream. I'm quite proud of that one. So this has been routed to a 3/8 inch in depth, and when I first did it with that 3/4 inch, it was quite snug and I couldn't quite get the can down in it, so I did reduce the inside diameter on this one. I just bumped it over. I didn't even take a measurement on it, and now it fits over the can quite nicely. Looks like it's going to make a good seal, and I'll actually turn it over and put it on real quick. Okay, here's a quick shot underneath where it just goes right down on that can. I believe it's going to make a good seal, but if I do have any issues here later, I may put a little bit of foam down in that groove if I need to, but all in all, we're on our way. So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do next, and then I'll discuss that. Okay, I've determined the next operation I'm going to do is to go ahead and cut out this 1/8 inch slot, and this will go all the way through it, and it will begin here at this mark. So I'll start here with my router bit. I will run it all the way around, and I will terminate here. So I'm going to go ahead and set up and make that cut, and then I'll do a quick shot of that just to be thorough. Okay, I've routed out the drop slot. As you can see, I'm going to turn on the macro and get in a little closer so I can show a little bit of detail on this. Okay, here's where it starts. As you can see, I went a little bit beyond my line, no big deal. I also did the same thing over here, no big deal. But that's the 1 1/8 inch drop slot. And my design, the way I'm laying this out, some of the ones I've seen, in order to, you want this edge right here to be inside the can, at the edge of the can on the inside. But if you're going to wrap this with something or whatnot, you almost have to leave a little ledge here. So the way I'm designing mine is I actually have, it's difficult to see, but I have about an inch that I'm not on the inside of that can. I'm further into the can. So my thought beyond that is I'll have this lined out to this edge, and when the material drops down, it has nowhere to go but into the can. And if there is any swirling action going around on the outside of the can, hopefully the material will stay back that 1 inch and not try to jump back out into the airstream. Even if I do get some back into the airstream, if it was heavy enough to get down in this slot the first time, it should go back in there again. So I just wanted to make note on that. That is something that I had not seen anybody do. So I'm claiming this for my own, but if somebody has done it, then the right's yours. So what I'm going to do now is the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to route this 1/8 inch groove between here and here, and I'm going to make that I'll probably make it a 1/4 inch in depth. I'll make the determination once I see it, and if it's not a 1/4 inch in depth, I'll note that. So I'm going to make that cut, and I'll get back with you and we'll see what's next. Here's a shot of the groove I just cut. It is 1/4 inch deep and 1/8 inch wide, and as stated, it runs from this edge to right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a series of cuts and then I'll show the finished product. I am going to cut the outside radius here, stopping right here. I'll make the circumference and I'll stop right here. And then after that I'm going to cut this outside line here across the front and then up here, and then we'll have, I believe that will be the whole base finished. So I'm going to do that and then I'll get a quick shot of that. Okay, here's a shot of the completed base after I made the cuts I just mentioned. As you can see, things are starting to take shape. So hopefully, you know, they're starting to make a little more sense to you guys, what all this geometry was referencing and meaning. So now what we're going to do is move on to the top, and we're going to work on that. Okay, with the bottom finished, I'm going to go ahead and concentrate on the top. I'm just going to give the order of cuts now that I'm fairly confident in what I'm doing, and I'm going to run through them real quick, and we will make them all in one shot and then show the finished product. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is come in with my 1/8 inch bit here, and I'm going to start here at this point where the circle is. I'm going to run all the way around and terminate here. Now that's going to be an 1/8 inch wide slot, 1/4 inch deep. And from there I will come in and I'm going to go ahead and cut the outside diameter to make it round, starting right here, going all the way around and terminating here. Then I will cut this down here across and take this little edge off and finish back where I started, and that'll be the outside shape. And once that's done, I'll come in and cut my center hole out and the top plate will be finished. So I'm going to make all these cuts in one duration and then I'll show the finished product. Okay, well, I've made all the cuts on the top piece and I've got it laying out here. Obviously it's upside down just so you can see it, and I've temporarily installed the outlet. It's a nice snug fit, and once I get it all put together I'll determine how far this is going to be sticking down into the chamber. So I'm going to flip this over and just get a quick shot of how it's going to look.